Right, let's talk about pork. Well, hopefully this is recording what's in front of me. I'm hungover. We're going to talk about pork. Oh, that's piqued your interest. Well, of course it has. Who doesn't love pork? Problem is, in Dubai, over to the new chest freezer. In Dubai, despite it being a Muslim country, we can buy pork as easily as we can buy any other meat, to be honest. Almost as easily. It's not banned or anything crazy like that. But it usually comes frozen, as is the case here. West Zone pork. And it's not always like the best quality pork. So, I am going to try show you how to make the best of the pork that we have easy access to. More expensive pork is available, but mostly, that's a nice big slab of meaty pork, I've got to say. Mostly the pork we buy will be looking more or less like this. Okay, just a meaty rack of ribs, frozen. Right. How long would I have to wait for this to defrost, cook it, So, forever. Can I introduce you to this thing? It's a halogen oven. Very clever bit of kit. It was a gift from my mum. See? Fire it up, and inside of there is an oven that you can set up to 250 Celsius or timers, usual stuff, yeah? Fairly usual. I'm going to stop prattling. I'll put this right. Actually, I'm going to preheat. I just want it on at about 140-ish. Okay. So, it's going to take about an hour and a half to cook these ribs. However, it's going to be relatively cheap. I think the cost of these ribs were change out of 20 dirhams. That's about £4 or $5 US. So, this is a pan, frying pan. The handle has been removed. Nothing melts. This is a can of San Mig Light. I have done this previously with Amstel Light, or any beers in fact work. Half the can, room temperature, goes into the pan. It is a bit easier if these ribs fit into the pan, but obviously they don't. The other ingredient we're going to be using today is Heinz Classic Barbecue, smoking rich. I'm going to tell you right now, we are not making the tastiest effing ribs you've ever had here. We're making the best of a bad situation. So frozen ribs, San Miguel Light. This is our halogen oven. It's got some sort of spacer on the bottom. Just going to drop that in. Try and get the ribs a bit central, and eventually they might kind of shrink into the size of that pan, although they do seem bigger than usual. I'm setting the timer for 40 minutes. I'm setting the temperature at about 140. They won't be done by then. And by the way, things like membranes and stuff, well, it's impossible to cut membrane off frozen ribs firstly, and if you're trying to do it when they're halfway cooked, well, good luck, but I wouldn't waste your time. The way that this actually cooks out, the membrane, which we'll see later, it's actually quite soft and manageable. That's it. That's the first stage of cooking our ribs. So frozen ribs straight out the freezer, unwrap them, half a can of San Mig in a frying pan, slam the ribs on top of that, 40 minutes. We'll come back. We're going to go and print some t-shirts, or maybe play Warzone for half an hour. Anyway, whatever we choose to do, there's no point standing here looking at a halogen oven. First stage is over. Well done, me. We are back in the kitchen. I'll put the light on. So, 40 minutes has elapsed. I managed to watch an episode of Big Mouth Our pork's beginning to cook. Oh, sorry, there's a bit of a mess in here today. It smells nice. It smells meaty and beery. So that's the membrane I was talking about. It's not really worth the effort of trying to cut it off. It simply doesn't come off. So you can eat around it if you have a problem. Let's get a bit more beer in there. The idea with the beer, by the way, if you just cook it from frozen on a rack, it's tough and dry. It's not great. Okay, crank it to 150. I'm going to give it 30 minutes. So it's kind of steaming at the same time that it's cooking. There you go. Simple. Not overly complicated, I would say. 30 minutes. Let's go watch another episode of Big Mouth. Right, we have just pinged for the 30 minutes. So we've done 40 minutes one side, meat side. 40 minutes meat side. 30 minutes on I think what they call the bone side. Okay. Smells good. I have to take my word for that though. There you go. The meat shrunk a bit. Time to get it out. Right, you might have noticed it had no seasoning done whatsoever earlier on. So, salt, pepper, this is piri piri. So it's salt, pepper, there's ground chilies. Well, it's ground when it comes out. Mustard seed. A few other things as well, I guess. So salt, pepper, black pepper, and white pepper. And like I said, this, if you wanted to up the game, you could get sort of a gourmet barbecue sauce. But we're just going to use Heinz, cheap and cheerful. Okay, let's go. So this isn't not too tricky. Bit of that beer liquor. We're not reinventing the wheel here. Don't worry, I do realise that. Okay. Plenty of barbecue sauce on. A bit more beer. What's happened here is actually it's softened up nicely. Okay. Pop that there. Let's just get this. Well, it's not exactly falling apart yet, but give it another 10-15 minutes. We're getting there. That's as good as we're going to get, I think. We've almost had it fitting in. Ah, there you go, that's a bit better. Right, this goes back on. Now it's just down to 10 minutes, but we're cranking it up to about 220, 230 in this case. 230. Okay. 10 minutes, we'll flip it over, then it'll be done. So that's 40 minutes, 30 minutes. So that's an hour 10. So like I said, about an hour and a half. The ribs are done. There we go. Okay. Cool. Right, we have pinged, hopefully the penultimate ping. Right. Oh yes, hello. Now we're looking a bit different, aren't we? Yes, right. Final piece of the jigsaw puzzle. So that goes over there. Now what I'm going to attempt to do, should have really done this from the other side, but never mind. I'm going to try and cut down the ribs, just to separate them out a little bit. And also, oh, touching it with the knife, there's no question that is cooked 100. Oh, I just burnt my lip. That's ridiculous, right? Right, so our knife's cutting through this nice and easy. It is definitely cooked 100%. Oh wow, literally, that's the stupidest thing I've done today. Burnt my lip totally. Right, just like on the previous. A bit of seasoning as well as peppers and chilies. Mustard seeds we've also got in here. Paprika, not much by the looks of things. Garlic and onion, freeze-dried onions. Right, slop a bit of this on. There you go. Try and work it into those. Plenty over here. Right, that seems like we're fairly well done. So the next ping will be 10 minutes and we'll be done. So it's going back in. Now it fits in the pan, doesn't it? Yeah, there you go. Right, now it fits in the pan. 10 minutes on a high heat. And we'll be eating ribs. Let them rest. All good. Like I said, we're not making the world's best ribs here. I know that for a fact. There's no smoking, no bark, no smoke rings, nothing like that. It's just, we know the ethos, the concept of low and slow, but there is equally cheap and cheerful. Today we're going cheap and cheerful. Frozen rack from the chest freezer. Truth be told, probably not the greatest grade of pork ever, but in the halogen, bit of beer in there, steam it as it cooks, bit of sauce at the end. We'll have a halfway decent product, ribs that I will enjoy eating with a hangover. There you go. That's as much as we need to say at this stage. 10 minutes, 9 minutes now, we'll be done. Right, we pinged here about 10 minutes ago. So, ooh, that's okay. Look at that, that's not too bad, eh? Not too bad. For some cheaper ribs, a little bit of time invested, that's all it is. They look okay. Right, well, unfortunately, we washed off a bit of the barbecue sauce from this side, but an easy fix to reglaze it. There you go. It's a shame actually, because it had gone quite nice and caramelised. I guess all that goodness is going to be in here. Right. There you go. What more can we say or do? That was 40 dirham rack, frozen out the chest freezer, half a can of Sandmig light into the pan, ribs on top, 40 minutes 140, flip it over 30 minutes 140, and then season, sauce it up, and it was 2 sets of 10 minutes on 240, 250, so 240 would actually call it. Cool, that's it. The ribs are alright. I'll cut into them into a minute. Just let them cool down a little bit first. They're going to be pretty hot, I would say. Anyway, happy with that. The ribs are pretty good. I've had the corner rib. That was the bone. Nice, succulent. Succulent and flavourful. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out the pan. Now, I've been a bit lazy making this. If I'd have been a bit more involved, I maybe would have skimmed off some impurities and stuff so that this could create a sauce, but this isn't going to work very well, I can tell. But I can strain it through a fine sieve. It's worked out a lot better than I thought. Strain it through a fine sieve, hopefully. Okay. And we should be separating at least some of the impurities. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tip this over the ribs. There you go. I'm going to eat out of this bowl. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered, right. I'm not bothered by getting a rib though. Right, let's go. So the membrane hasn't been cut off, but it's been softened significantly by the steaming. Hang on. let me tell you categorically, a set of ribs that cost 18 dirhams 95, they are punching cost of eating them, punching well above, are we talking well above their weight. So I'm going to continue here to get sticky fingers and get going with these ribs properly, but I would recommend to anybody, you go and get a set of baby back ribs, portion of spare ribs from one of the more expensive supermarkets in Dubai for 60, 70, 100, 150 dirhams probably. They cost 19 dirhams, came out of a chest freezer, went into a chest freezer, they were cooked in an hour and a half, and they are tasty. So I would recommend anybody who has fancies a bit of pork rib to give this method of cooking a try. Let's see if I can just find the knuckle. There it is. Look at that. You're a machine like that. Get this rib out. It looks nice succulent. That is not falling off the bone, but it's coming away from the bone. Can't stop eating it. And into my mouth with a minimum of fuss. No hard, chewy stuff. Nice, soft, nice flavour. What more can I say? I'm so messed up here, I don't think I can switch the GoPro off. But that's it. By the way, if you don't have a halogen oven, you could obviously do this in a regular oven. But they're a good thing. If you're not cooking like for a huge family, what a great thing to have in the kitchen, yeah? Perfect size. That, a few vegetables on the side. Good stuff. Right, that's it. Thank you for watching.